adjusted pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Sarah regarded the sinister-looking feline with a twinkle in her dark eyes. She named this one Quentin? That's right. Nancy exchanged a knowing glance with my assistant. I sensed I was missing something. Sounds kind of nerdy for such an impressive fellow. You'd probably have to be closer to our ages to get the joke, Sarah said. You're not even 30. Too young to remember Dark Shadows. I've heard of it, I said. An old TV series, right? Nancy explained. It was kind of a spooky soap opera about a wealthy old Maine family, the Collinses. They had real skeletons in their closets. One very handsome young man, Quentin Collins, happened to be a werewolf. Every full moon he went on the rampage. So embarrassing for the rest of the family. I'm sure. I grinned, wondering if Nancy might even have suggested that name to her friend. Her own male cat's full handle was Stephen King. Also appropriate, since the author resided and set many of his thrillers in Maine. Anyhow, Nancy said, Angie hasn't been able to keep up with Quentin's grooming lately, so I thought I'd let you two shape him up before I bring him home with me. Glad to, Sarah said, though her tone remained wary. As long as he's not half as demonic as he looks. He's not, but as you can see, he is a big boy, our customer cautioned us. And strong. Sarah and I should be able to manage him. My assistant was on the petite side, but I stood a little taller than average, and over the year and a half we'd been running this business, we both had built up some muscle. Good thing, because I guessed Quentin must tip the scales at a good 25 pounds, and that was at his trim fighting weight. I took his leash and led him back to our cat condo area, which featured one extra-large enclosure set somewhat apart from the dozen others. The Maine Coon came along as obediently as a show dog. He remained just as cooperative while I opened the door to the closet-sized condo, unfastened the Velcro straps of his harness, and ushered him inside. This should help him feel at home. Following us, Nancy handed me a round red plush bed, already decorated with a few wisps of his dark gray fur that probably had been marketed for a medium-sized canine. I slipped it onto the second shelf of the 3-level enclosure, and His Majesty curled up in it contentedly enough. Looks like he'll get along here just fine, I observed, latching the door. Sarah and I will make him all handsome in time for Halloween. Say, Nancy, you should enter him in the pet parade in the park. This guy wouldn't even need a costume. She looked surprised. I hadn't even heard about that. Is it something new? This is just the second year. It's a fundraiser for FOCA, the Friends of Chadwick Animals. They have a shelter downtown, right? I passed it on my way here. Sarah disappeared briefly to the front sales area of our shop and returned with a flyer. Its border showed photos from the previous year's event, with pets of all sizes and species in crazy Halloween garb. The centered text proclaimed, Second Annual Chadwick Halloween Pet Parade. Saturday, October 24th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Entry fee, $10. Proceeds benefit the Friends of Chadwick Animals, a no-kill shelter. The flip side featured an entry form. Plenty of time to enter, Sarah told her with a smile. It's still a few weeks off. This does look like fun, and it's certainly a good cause, Nancy admitted. Dunno if it would be good for Quentin, though. I'm just taking care of him for Angie, so I wouldn't want to stress him out or put him in any danger. From last year's pictures, it looks like most of the entries were dogs. That's true, I said. I guess dogs tend to be better sports about getting dolled up in costumes and paraded around in public. Of course, Quentin does walk on a leash. She laughed darkly. But if he got agitated, or God forbid a dog actually went after him, I would not want to be responsible for the outcome. Sarah grimaced. I can see why, though the dog might get the worst of it. You're completely right, of course, I told Nancy, feeling a bit chastened. It was just a funny idea. The three of us returned through the playroom, where our boarders could take their exercise on an array of multi-level trees and wall shelves, to the front of the shop. At my hot pink and black sales counter, I wrote up an estimate for Nancy that included the grooming job and a couple of days' board, until she could pick Quentin up again. She left us some of his usual food for the stay and his carrier. It also could have accommodated a Sheltie-sized dog and could be pulled on wheels.